I wasn't expecting company, but if you stay out of the shrubs and flower beds, you could stay.
Give him a wave, Pops, now that you've invited him in. We're two old guys who enjoy playing Sandbox and survival games together. I'm Uncle Craig. Go ahead and sit down. Let's visit for a while.
I'm one of the earliest characters in Pax Dei history.
Yeah, I kind of gathered that. I kind of gathered that from your early videos. I haven't seen your more recent ones. I've been kind of.
Hey, you gotta focus on your own.
Well, that's part of it. But there's still time that we can watch each other's content. But I've been kind of scattered in life and work, as well as my hobby here. But I did notice in your early ones, a lot of your videos, and they still are, I think, are on, kind of where's Pax Dei going? What's the game like? Here's his events, maybe on a social side of things. And you can notice my videos are a little bit different. I call it the two old guys spirit. There's a way I go about doing our content that I think is different than most other content providers. And I'm very lackadaisical about it. I try to keep it looking like it's just an old guy who's goofing around in a game and letting you guys look over his shoulder. That's really the spirit I like to give. But yours are more, and now I can see why yours are more in tune with where's the game going, what types of things can you let us know are coming in the future, and that kind of thing in your videos. So I really do enjoy that. It fills a specific space, if you will, on the content and there in YouTube. So I have enjoyed those. And it's great to be able to run with you. I mean, Yuri and I did this the first time just kind of on a fluke. I don't remember. I came up with the idea of running with other content providers quite a while back. I think it started out me just watching some of the videos and thinking, it'd be kind of fun to run with that guy. And not many games do you have where you can actually just do that. Usually it's somebody's dedicated server and you got to coordinate, their permissions and all kinds of stuff. So in this case, I think I had that idea, and when I saw one of Yuri's videos and I put in a comment and asked him, what would you think about running together? He jumped at it. And so we did that first one and had such a good time that's what spurred me to try to coax and beg and plead other content providers to do the same thing. And so in our journey into YouTube stuff, let me check the map here. I'm not sure where I am. Let's see if we want to go to the Pax Dei. Or Petra Day. Let's go to. You see where that shrine is northwest of us? Let's go up toward that. I think I'm pointed the right way right now. Yeah.
Yeah.
Generally, yes.
There should be no cliffs if we take a direct straight line here.
That'll be just this one that we have to kind of go around, but we won't have to jump off anything. So our background. Maybe people are hearing this every single time I do these videos. I don't know. But really, my dad is very possibly the oldest living player of Pax Dei, let alone any computer game. He's 82. And he started gaming. He was probably a gamer at heart, even when he was very young, but that was before computers were a big thing and before you could actually have one in your house. The first game I remember him, having us play like at home was one of the first versions of Pong that you could hook up to your television set. So he's been a gamer most of his life, but when he turned 55, or when he was 55 and he got the opportunity for an early retirement type of thing, he started gaming full time. So that's all he's been doing with his time is gaming. So now I'm, 60 this year, and I thought, it'd be kind of fun to spend time with Dad. We've done it periodically in our lives. We spent time gaming together with Asheron's Call and Dark Age of Camelot, things like that. But I thought, right now it'd be a good time to really dive into that. So we started playing games on private servers because we didn't like, dealing with what we call hoodlums. And I set up a Space Engineers server. We decided to give that game a try. And while we were playing on what I thought was a private server, somebody logged in. I thought, what the heck? So I asked the guy, how'd you find out about our server? What are you doing here? He said, well, would you like me to get off? I said, no, that's fine. And that kind of started our willingness to, set up a dedicated server. I'm going to go ahead and swim across the river here. A dedicated server for us to, play in and let other people play with us. And he joined us, and suddenly we had other people joining us. I had a Discord server, so we let them go ahead and join us on the Discord server, and we moved to another game. We had some guys who were really good in setting up and configuring the dedicated servers. I can't get out of the water here. There we go. And so they kind of took that for some of the games. We're to the point now we have an AWS server, and it hosts some of the dedicated server games that people like playing. And when it comes to YouTube, it started out me just recording, a couple of videos for people in our community to, here's how to do this or that or the other thing. Or we also started recording like an interesting storyline in Space Engineers, and thought that might go somewhere. Didn't really go anywhere. And that was the beginning of my posting things to YouTube. And then I can't remember when it was. I think it's either late last year or early this year. I decided, well, I'm going to, do more. I'll just post them more often. I think it's Minecraft. When we got into Minecraft again, we went back to that as kind of a retro thing. And the next thing I know, I got, 12 users. Or subscribers. I went, yeah, 12. And, and I didn't use SEO. I didn't try to, and I still didn't try to figure out how to get people interested in the content. I just figured if I'm doing something that people find interesting, they'll watch it. If not, they won't. No big deal. So that's the way I've approached it even till now. But I've gotten to the point where I post at least, pretty close to one video a day across about 3 games. But that's kind of where we came from. And my brother plays with us too. My son once in a while. And we got other older guys who are in other games, and young guys who are what do we call old at heart. He's got good good character and decent people. And so we got a good community. That's how I got started in YouTube. I'm never saw myself as a YouTuber, at all.
Well, I do appreciate, your approach to content creation as well. I think that, like you and I, it sounds like we both have the luxury of, like, YouTube as a hobby for us.
Like, subscriber, get off my lawn.
It's something that we really enjoy doing, like entertaining others. But it's not something that's like our livelihood, so we don't have to conform to the algorithm and its whims as much as, people who are making a living off of YouTube is.
Right.
Having to do. And I do appreciate it because it's like, the way that you go about creating content, it's just more like earnest and honest, and you can be a lot more creative with it as opposed to some crazy headline saying the game's changing forever, and if you don't watch this video you might lose all of your stuff, and this is
or Pax Dei is doomed.
That's a big one. Or like the thumbnails with the thumbs down, sad face, and you're just like, what? Why? I mean, I know negativity sells, but
it does.
It's very, very, like, I wouldn't say toxic because toxic is used too much, but it's very, it has a negative impact on the community, and people watch this stuff and they think it's, a lot worse than things are a lot of times. Or a lot better. I mean, honestly, sometimes there's a couple of content creators out there, even for Pax Dei, where I'm like, whoa, that's a hot take. Like,
Yeah, don't oversell it. Yeah.
Yeah, like wow. If you look in a couple of places, you'll be able to confirm very easily that will never happen in the game.
Yeah.
But people kind of build up what they think is, what things are supposed to be or what they are, and hey,
Well, and views.
whatever floats
They
your
want,
boat,
Yeah, they want views and they want clicks and they want duration, and they're looking for activity on their site. And a lot of them on the YouTube channels, and a lot of them get income, like you said before, income based on activity on their site. So how do you generate activity? You make bold and ridiculous statements like that.
and some buzz too.
Yeah. Well, thank you.
Now,
Like I say, we're pretty lackadaisical about what we create, and if people like it, great. If they don't, fine.
Now this is interesting. Do you happen to have a hammer on you?
I do. So
Could
let me see. I might even
I-
have an extra one.
Is there an extra one?
Here you go. You go ahead and grab
have
that
some
hammer.
insight to this build here. So let's see. 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, this person broke it. That's interesting. Huh.
What's that?
So using some conventional technology, you can get a distance from one to another, like from one pillar to another pillar, and have things standing. It's like about 5. So this one is 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So there's actually a space, an even number spaced in between. Typically you can only do 5. And I'm looking at the ceiling or the roofing here, and it's actually all green up top as well.
Is it?
Yeah, which leads me to think they could have also made this
Well,
way taller.
now the angle, the 45-degree pillars or beams help with that, because if I understand the mechanics right, the physics right. So, for instance, if you look over here, you'll see the one post that's straight up, and then the one that goes out horizontally, and then you have the one at an angle. I think that one at an angle makes it so at that first intersection there, it has a better stability than it would have from the post that's straight up and the post that's out to the right. So if you take the one that's at the angle, if you take that out, I'll bet the stability drops. So I think those 3 angled pieces that they have up there, I think that's what's adding that.
Yeah,
that stability.
That's quite impressive that they were able to get. When we were walking up to this, I was like, I wonder how
they got such a big
open the
roof.
space was going to be on the inside. Well, yeah, that too. So I mean, when you look at a roof, most of the time, now that they did kind of shoot themselves in the foot a little bit, because they did 6 apart, which makes it a lot more difficult to actually do roofs in some ways.
Yeah, it is.
But
you can see what they did at the top. You can see they put two ridge pieces side by side there. Yeah.
Yep. But it is very interesting what they're able to do here. Huh. Taking notes. So one of the things that it's most likely coming in the autumn update too. These I want to call them trellises, but they're not. The beams that you were just talking about, those supports, they're kind of just putting them in the game. Instead of having to place 6 or 7 or 10 pieces to make it, they're just making it,
So the kind of like roof
another
trusses they're gonna make.
Yeah.
Oh, good. Yeah. That would help. I'm trying to do a roof right now. I'm trying to get my back against this wall here, and it's not working. There we go. Come on. There got it.
Go.
I'm trying to put a roof on something now and finding it challenging because I can't. For instance, the slope too. I don't know if you've seen my Chomper Cafe series, but I am replicating the cafe that I have breakfast at every morning. And the roof on that cafe has a more gradual slope than the roofs that are available in the games, or even the angled beams. So I'm having to kind of compromise on that a little bit.
every morning. The real question is my guess, I'd be willing to wager you order the same thing every time. So what is that order?
I don't even order. I go in and I
you just
sit
get
down.
coffee.
Well, I go in and sit down, and the breakfast just shows up.
Aha, because it is that. So what is it?
So I walk in and
You seem like a hash kind of guy to me.
well,
Scrambled hash.
I might like hash, but I found, and I try to eat somewhat healthy too. Now I say that, but you're going to go, that's not healthy. But I try to eat somewhat healthy. So my order is 2 or 3 eggs over medium, bacon, and sourdough toast, and bacon on the crispy side. And then I just keep drinking the coffee until my meal's over.
Until they cut you off.
That's right. And the funny thing is, though, I noticed that when I would eat breakfast, if I ate the bacon first, the eggs were cold. And for a split second, this basket here, instead of the guy's name, had his user ID, his character ID, and but it was just a render timing thing. Yeah, I noticed that my eggs would get cold, or if I ate the eggs first, the bacon was cold. And so what I did one time is I asked them, would you mind if you brought the bacon out before everything else and then bring the eggs and toast? So that's what they do now. So people who don't know me, they'll see me sit down with coffee and bacon. And they may not see the eggs and toast later. That comes a few minutes later. But that's my breakfast.
That is an awesome thing to have.
Yeah. I'm going to like it when they allow us to sit in the chairs. That'll be...
Oh, it's going to change my life.
Yeah. It's just so disappointing that I can't sit down here. I can't even... There's no emote where I can kind of look like I'm sitting in the chair. So
I have a couple of creatives over on the project that we're working on, the Golden City, and we're actually really fortunate. The developers at Unreal Fest, they featured kind of earlier-ish, like 2 or 3 week earlier version of the city when they were showing off their server tech. But we have some very creative people that are working on the project, and we have a lavatory. and they're just waiting, to be able to have that sitting emote so that we can actually, for the last...
you sit on the loo. Yeah.
Yeah, for the last 4 months, everyone in Pax Dei has been constipated, and that's just something that we're looking to kind of reverse.
That's great. If you watch I have another series called Social Call. And on that one, I go to, people will comment. They'll say, hey, come out and take a look at my place. One of them I featured, I kind of did it by accident. He was Cider, I think is his name, and or their name. And after helping him out in the Wanderer, I stopped and I can't stay up on this roof. I stayed and did a social call. And in that, you'll see their blue, and it's pretty funny. They also have a pole, a dance pole, and a chest next to it with fruit and underpants. Oh man, I thought that was creative. That's something I would never have thought of.
No, what you're witnessing right now is Eltari's favorite pastime in Pax Dei.
Oh yeah, parkour.
That is parkouring across the various roofs that exist in game. It's one of my favorite. In fact, I might have mandated it in the city that if there's not enough parkour, I'm gonna fire people. So
there you go.
we made it a prerequisite that the city has to be multi-layered. And
that's great.
Have a bunch of different components to it where Eltarii has to be able to jump across them and potentially die. I like to live life on the edge, literally. So
well, our place is built on a spot where if you're not careful, you will fall and die. It's just we're on a cliffside, and then my build. Those really tall spruce type trees? Well, there's some over there. at the top
Yes.
of our cliff top there in Iniscalia is a very tall spruce tree like that, and it's just in the way. In fact, it's right in the middle of my plot, and at first I thought, like other games, you cut down the tree and you can build up. That's great. I cut this thing down. The next thing I know, there it is again. I thought, this is horrible. This is my plot. This is where I'm going to build my home. And so I finally gave up, and I took foundation and I built a foundation so that the tree was in the center of it. I put it up as high as I could, and then I started building around it. I adjusted it a little bit as I learned about the structural integrity and things like that. And now it's like a centerpiece. And so if people fall off of my location, they will die just for the fall down to the top of the cliff top. But if you go off the cliff top, it's your history. The tree has kind of become the what do they call it? A conversation starter. So people will come and they'll yell from down the cliff, "How do we get up to your place?" Because there's only 2 places that you can go to scurry up to our location, and those just have a kind of a narrow crease that you can kind of run up. Otherwise, you can't make it up there, and so we're a little remote in that regard, but we are right where everybody can see us. So people say, "How do we get up there?" And then when they get up there, they said, one guy said, "We thought you guys worship trees or something because you have this big pedestal with a tree sticking on the top." So
That's funny.
We're kind of unique, but again, we're kind of functional in our builds. We're not as creative. This place is great. The one we're walking through right now, I'm so impressed with what seems to be different people that built it, because I'm looking at the different builds and they're not all following the same approach, and yet they've all been built in such a way that they are harmonious. So it's kind of neat.
Yeah, I really think PAX Day shines when you have a community of people all kind of pitching together to build something. It's
We're kind of
really
like
cool thing.
We're kind of like the redneck family up in the hills that we're social. We're social with each other, but we don't have a real broad community. It's mostly myself and my dad. We call him Papa or Pops, and then my brother. His character name in this game is Titus. Usually he uses Contricio, but we also refer to him as Uncle Paul. So the 3 of us are the ones who are usually online, and then we do have some people float in and through the group. They're excited about joining us, and they're there for a while, and then they take a break and come back. So, but we're pretty tight community, open to anybody who wants to join us, but we just don't have very many that want to be around smelly redneck folks up in the hills. So, well, Eltarii, it's been really nice spending time with you and chatting. I still don't see anybody else in the game. We just had that one individual. Hopefully we can do this again at some point, run into somebody.
Yeah, I'd love to. Thank you for having me. It's been really, really great, and I really like the content that you're making, and I found it really entertaining when I was watching it as well. So
good.
Keep on doing what you're doing, and we'll have to do this again sometime.
Yeah, you too. I again appreciate your content quite a bit. I hear one of the most common comments I get on mine is this is so relaxing, and so I'm thinking, well, people like it because it helps them go to sleep at night.
Hey, that's an important important function.
That's right. That's right. Glad to help them out. Well, thank you so much, guys. Thanks for joining us and spending some time with us. Hope to see you in game. Have fun.
See ya.